And of course, we can see that it's common sense if we come back to what I said about the definition of aging, that aging is really the same thing in simple machines like cars that it is in living organisms. This car is more than 100 years old. And of course, it was not designed to last that long. It was probably designed to last only 10 or 15 years. But because its owners have done an unusually comprehensive amount of maintenance on it, it has not accumulated damage. And so, sure enough, it's working just as well as it did when it was built. Okay, so you may be wondering, well, if this is so obvious and so simple, okay, somebody needed to think of it, but then after somebody had had the idea and started to talk about it, surely everybody would get it pretty quickly. And you may have noticed that I have been around a long time. I have been, standing up on stage and on camera and so on for something like 15 years, saying pretty much this same thing. Now, this is where the psychology starts to come in. And I remember that one of the people who is listening is a psychologist. I believe that fundamentally, the reason why I have encountered so much resistance is because most people are scared of getting their hopes up. We have known since the beginning of civilization that aging is this thing that happens to everybody if nothing else happens to them, if they live long enough. And they know that aging is really horrible. So they want to do something about it. But of course, throughout the history of civilization, people have been coming along saying, here is the way we can avoid aging. And they have always been wrong. They have always been oversimplifying the situation in one way or another. So, of course, it is reasonable to be skeptical and pessimistic when somebody else comes along and says, okay, finally, we do understand how to do this. And of course, people know that eventually somebody will figure it out. Eventually somebody will be right. But until there is really strong evidence that this time we have got the right answer, people are scared to get their hopes up. And they prefer to continue to believe that nothing will happen and to kind of put aging out of their minds and go, not think about it. And the question then is, how do people do that? And the answer is they trick themselves. They create some kind of argument, some kind of so-called logic that says that aging is actually either a good thing or else it is like perpetual motion. There's nothing that can possibly do anything about it. And that allows them to put it out of their minds and get on with their miserably short lives and make the best of it. But of course, that's really bad. Until I came along, that was a sensible thing to do. It was rational because there really was no plan. Nobody had any idea that had any kind of rationality to it. But now we have this plan. And so this attitude that we should not think about aging is a huge part of the problem. It is slowing things down because it means that there is not very much public enthusiasm for supporting this work in, financially. And, research is expensive. Research in biology is always expensive. So, we really need more people to understand it and to support it financially or to support the government supporting it, anything like that. And that's not happening. So, of course, things are getting better. Every year that goes by, we make a little bit of progress and people get a little bit more enthusiastic and it becomes a little bit easier to make the next piece of progress, but it's not going nearly fast enough.